Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Georgia, or G for short. Today is day one of something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, which is documenting my journey learning Korean. I am not fluent in Korean, but that's why I'm here. I want to document absolutely everything, wins, the fails, the uncomfortableness of speaking to people in a foreign language when you are already a little bit socially awkward. So if you are also on your own Korean language learning journey, or if you just want to watch somebody else go through the ups and downs of learning Korean, then you are in the right place. So first things first, I thought it would be a good idea to explain why I'm learning Korean in the first place. I moved to Korea to teach English with the EPIC program back in 2018. I had watched a lot of YouTube videos before coming here, you know, just trying to prepare myself in the best way. And a lot of people that I was watching on YouTube, on videos that I found, actually were saying that you don't need Korean at all to move here.
That is not correct.
At that time, I had absolutely no plans on staying in Korea long term. I was just going to do my 12-month contract and then go back home to the UK. So I actually was really pleased at the concept of only having to learn basic Korean for survival, which I did choose to do, even though people said you didn't need any Korean whatsoever. I did think it would still be a good idea to learn at least basic Korean so that I could survive on my own in Korea, like ordering food at a restaurant, taking a taxi, you know, those kinds of things. So whilst I had learnt survival level Korean and I was able to have very basic conversations at that point, I hadn't anticipated how frustrating it would be to not be able to express myself fully, or to the extent that I wanted to. Like, it's all well and good learning basics for survival, but when you are trying to form friendships in Korea, obviously basic level Korean just does not cut it. I found that when I wanted to communicate with my co-workers and people I'd made friends with, that became really difficult because of the language barrier. So this is what sparked my determination to get better at Korean. I'm proud to say that I did at least reach a conversational level before I left Korea the following year. Right now, I would say that I am around a lower intermediate level, at least that's what I have tested into. My humidifier just turned on. Humidifier? Dehumidifier. My dehumidifier just turned on. Anyway, as I was saying, I am around lower intermediate level right now, at least that's what I tested into when I did one of those online tests. I wouldn't say that it's really that good at predicting your level, and when it comes to speaking, I would say that I'm actually not intermediate. My main focus is to improve my speaking because I do feel that that is the area where I am the weakest. I am an introvert and I've always been quite shy even when I was a child. So I struggle to speak confidently, especially in a foreign language. I've found it really difficult. I mean, I struggle to speak confidently even in my native language sometimes. That's just the type of person that I am. So there have been many situations where I have understood what someone has said to me in Korean, but my fear over getting it wrong has always held me back in situations, and instead of responding in the way that I would like to, I usually just respond with ne, because for some reason the words that I have in my brain just will not come out of my mouth. And then I always have that regret when I leave the conversation. I always walk away like, oh damn, I wish I had said this instead. Also, another thing I'd just like to mention is that I am entirely self-taught. All of the Korean that I have learnt through self-study. I've never had any formal language training, although I do want to eventually do a Korean language course at a Korean university. So now I want to talk a little bit about why I've struggled to make Korean stick long term, because obviously you're all probably thinking, hey, she learned Korean back in 2018 and we're now in 2025, so how is this girl not fluent in this language, which would be a valid thought. I haven't studied Korean consistently in all of that time. If I had, I probably would be fluent by now, or at least I hope I would be fluent by now. In 2019, I left Korea to return home to the UK, and I did not keep up with the Korean studying at all after I got back home to the UK. I said I was going to, and I did not. I just did no studying for a really long time. So I failed to retain a lot of what I had learned in Korea. Excuse me, some water. I don't know what that was. So yeah, as I was saying, I failed to retain a lot of what I had learned in Korea because I did not keep up with the studying at all. Which leads me on to the next issue I have. I am a procrastinator. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I procrastinate way more than I should. It's an issue that I have always had. If I can put it off till tomorrow, I will put it off till tomorrow. Honestly, even things that I really should not put off, like my university dissertation, I put that off. So even when it comes to things that are really important, I procrastinate. Sadly, that was also the case when it came to studying Korean. I told myself, you know, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, and that tomorrow just never came. Another reason why I think Korean has failed to stick for me is I met my now husband back in 2018 in Korea, and you might be thinking, if you have a Korean husband, you know, learning Korean should be really easy, right? Well, no. Because my husband is very fluent in English. In fact, he is more fluent in English than he is in Korean. So the primary language that me and my husband communicate in is English. On top of that, his father, so my father-in-law, he also speaks really good English, and he enjoys speaking English with us because he likes to practice. So it's really hard for me to actually get consistent speaking practice. I think, again, that is why my speaking is my weakest when it comes to Korean. I have a lot of knowledge of vocabulary and grammar, and if I see a Korean sentence written down, I will understand it. But if I hear the same sentence spoken to me, sometimes I don't get it, and I have to ask them to repeat themselves, and then I might get it the second time, and I honestly might not. And then there's the third situation where I will understand what has been said, but my lack of confidence when it comes to speaking just will not allow me to respond in the way that I want to. I also want to just quickly talk about why I struggled to stick to my study schedule initially. So a big reason why is that, as I mentioned earlier, I put the pro in procrastination. For someone like me, I really need a checklist so that I can like tick off when I actually do things, just to help keep myself accountable. I think another big reason why I struggled to stick to a study schedule was that after I left Korea, I also did a lot of moving around. I was doing long distance with my now husband at the time, and he was studying in America, so I would often fly to America to visit him, and he would come to the UK to visit me, and that's how we navigated our relationship at the start, at least until the dreaded COVID hit, and then we were just miserable for 18 months, but I'll just gloss over that and move on to today. Today we are both living in South Korea. I actually moved here last year, which is when I really amped up my Korean studying again and got back into it fully. Being back living in South Korea again, I got that motivation to learn Korean again. My main goal is to be fully fluent in Korean, which means no more freezing in conversations and being able to respond in the way that I want to and with confidence, not just, you know, winging it. I'm also hoping to achieve some smaller milestones along the way, like finishing a full drama without subtitles and understanding everything that happened. And eventually I do want to take the topic so I can see how far I've come and how much progress I've made. Moving on, I want to talk about the purpose of this channel. First off, accountability. I created this channel to keep myself accountable. I already mentioned that I struggle a lot with procrastination, so this channel is just another way that I can hold myself accountable. Another reason is that I would really love to build a community here. Sometimes learning a new language can feel really isolating, so I would just love to build a little community here where we can all encourage each other and just feel a little bit less alone in the learning process. Lastly, but also probably the most important reason, is that I want this to be a space where people can see the reality of learning Korean. I don't want to sugarcoat my Korean language learning journey. I want to show how uncomfortable and how awkward it can be. As I mentioned, I've always been an introvert and really shy. Like, having to give an oral presentation at school was my absolute worst nightmare. I would just stand at the front and shake the whole time pretty much. That level of uncomfortable when it comes to public speaking. So I'm hoping that by really pushing myself and putting myself out there, then it will hopefully inspire you guys to do the same. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to follow along on my journey, then please subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below to say hi, because I would really love to build a little community here. 한국어 공부 같이 해요. 영상 봐주셔서 감사합니다. 재미있게 재미있게 보셨다면 구독과 좋아요 눌러주세요. 댓글도 많이 달아주세요. 다음에 봐요. 안녕.